Hey, what's up? It's Zach, and this is your weekly video devotion. This Friday is Good Friday, and usually this is a time when we reflect on Jesus' death and the events leading up to his death. And the Gospels give us plenty to work with here. It was a time of stress and sorrow and fear and anxiety for everyone involved. For Jesus' followers, it was a time of them worrying about, okay, our leader is being crucified for something that he didn't do. Are we in trouble? And they're also struggling with the fact that their leader is dying and being beaten brutally. His disciples are being tested, and not all of them pass their test. And Jesus himself is physically just beaten down, and he's mocked, and he is questioned wrongfully, and eventually, he is crucified as a criminal. And these are really sad things, very, very sad things. And when I reflect on it, it's a mixture of anger, sadness, and confusion. And I think that these emotions are similar to what the disciples and Jesus' earlier followers were feeling when this process was happening in their daily lives. Obviously they were there, and so it was very much more real to them. But still, when we think about it, when I think about it, I still have these feelings of confusion and of anger. But then I stop myself and I start thinking about, what exactly does this all mean? Why did it happen? And I realized that without the death of Jesus, we don't have resurrection. Without his sacrifice of his blood, we don't have salvation from sin. And this painful day made a way for something glorious to happen in all of creation. Pain, sorrow, fear, anxiety, all of these bad things produce something amazing. And God does that so often, where he takes negative aspects of our reality and changes them into something spectacular. He changes our existence in spectacular ways through these terrible situations. And he still does the same thing today. When we allow parts of ourselves to die to the world, what is reborn in Christ is something spectacular. Just as Jesus' death made way for resurrection and for salvation, when we die to the world or kill off sinful aspects of our lives, that makes way for rebirth in our lives, and it makes way for salvation and transformation. Jesus said this: "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will save it." God takes this negative thing, death, and he uses it for the glory of his kingdom. He takes one of the greatest tools that Satan has and that sin has, and that's the fear of death, and that's the act of death. And he takes it and he uses it and he creates something spectacular that we can celebrate, that we don't have to be afraid of. And it is amazing. So reflect on these things today. Reflect on what death actually means if you are a follower of Christ. Reflect on Luke chapter 9 and consider the idea that out of death comes rebirth and transformation. We don't have to be afraid of death. We don't have to be afraid of sin anymore because Christ died. And just as Christ died, we are called to die to ourselves. We are called to sacrifice ourselves. But we don't have to be afraid of that process, because out of that process comes amazing things. Just like out of Christ's death, we get resurrection and salvation. So have faith today in Jesus' death and resurrection. If you have questions, please feel free to comment and to ask them and contact me about them. Thank you for your support. Please continue to share this. That helps me out a whole lot. God bless you guys. See you later. And thanks so much. Bye.